Luxembourg is a country that exists. Now, that might come as shocking news to some of you. Unfortunately, the tiny landlocked nation isn't the first to jump to mind when people think of Europe. But those who do know of its existence know it more for its low tax rates, luxury cars that cruise through every street, and free public transport. But do you know how Luxembourg actually works? How did it get to where it is today, and how does it currently function? So, join me as I delve into the history, politics, and economy of Luxembourg. This is the guide you didn't even realize that you wanted. If you're from Luxembourg or just noticed that I say something wrong, feel free to call me out in the comments below, and make sure to stick around till the end to learn about the crazy Luxembourgish pirate political party. This is Marco. You're watching How Countries Work. Let's get started. Luxembourg is a small, landlocked country located in Western Europe, a part of a region known as the Low Countries, which also includes Belgium and the Netherlands. It is bordered by Belgium to the west and the north, European giants Germany and France to the east and south. The country is known for its picturesque landscapes, including rolling hills and dense forests. During classical antiquity, Luxembourg was a part of Gallia Bellica, otherwise known as Belgian Gaul. The people from the Low Countries did not think of themselves as a unified people. Instead, they belonged to the various tribes that inhabited the region. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, the Low Countries fell under the control of various kingdoms and empires. However, the recorded history of Luxembourg itself began in 963 when Siegfried I, Count of the Ardennes, acquired Luxembourg Castle, providing a basis for the development of the town that eventually became Luxembourg City, the current capital. Siegfried's descendant, Conrad I, was the first to call himself Count of Luxembourg. Though the county of Luxembourg was small, the House of Luxembourg, through marriage alliances and political maneuvering, eventually became a dominant force in the Holy Roman Empire as Holy Roman Emperors during the 14th and 15th centuries. Although this influence would wane, and the House of Luxembourg would eventually die out through the male line. Luxembourg would then spend the next 500 years being passed around by large dynasties. First, the Dukes of Burgundy, then the mighty Habsburg dynasty, both the Spanish and Austrian branches. It was also annexed by revolutionary France during the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. And after the defeat of Napoleon in 1814, the Congress of Vienna awarded control of the entire Low Countries to the Dutch under the new nation, the United Kingdom of the Netherlands. This is also where Luxembourg was elevated to the entity as we know it today, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, a separate and independent nation from the Netherlands, but under a personal union with the same monarch. However, the United Kingdom of the Netherlands did not last long, as the Catholic Belgians revolted against the Protestant Dutch and gained their independence during the Belgian Revolution of 1830. Under the Treaty of London of 1839, Luxembourg was divided, with the western part becoming part of the new Kingdom of Belgium and the eastern part remaining a possession of the King of the Netherlands. And these are the current borders that Luxembourg has today. This is also why today there is a province of Luxembourg located in Belgium, not to be confused with the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, which we are talking about here. When King William III of the Netherlands died in 1819 without a male heir, the crown of Netherlands passed to his daughter Wilhelmina. At the time, Luxembourg was bound by Salic law, which restricted women's inheritance of thrones, fiefs, and other property. As a result, the crown of Luxembourg passed to a male of another branch of the House of Nassau, Adolf, the head of the branch Nassau-Weilburg, which is the current ruling house. Luxembourg's neutrality was also a key aspect of its historical identity. This was established during the Treaty of London of 1839 and was later affirmed by another Treaty of London in 1867 after the Luxembourg crisis, which was a diplomatic dispute which almost resulted in a war between Prussia and France. Given Luxembourg's ideal strategic location at the center of Europe, it was advantageous for all sides to keep the area neutral. For the great powers, so neither side could have influence in the area, and for Luxembourg, so it could continue existing independently. However, during both world wars in the 20th century, Luxembourg was invaded and occupied by Germany despite this declared neutrality. This resulted in Luxembourg abandoning its neutrality after the Second World War, becoming a founding member of several intergovernmental and supranational institutions, including the United Nations, NATO, and what would become the European Union. Now, instead of being strictly neutral, the country is a staunch proponent of European integration because it's better for Luxembourg if France and Germany aren't at war with each other. Now, with a population of over 666,000 people, it ranks as the 36th most populous country in Europe. The official language is Luxembourgish, but French and German are also spoken administratively. It is famous for being one of the richest countries in the world, being a European economic powerhouse, and for having award-winning wines. Today, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg is a unitary parliamentary constitutional monarchy. The Constitution of Luxembourg, adopted in 1868, serves as the supreme law of the country and outlines the structure, functions, and principles of the government of Luxembourg. First of all, What exactly is a Grand Duchy? In regards to function, there isn't really any other difference than any other countries, other than that the head of state is a Grand Duke. This is opposed to kingdoms or republics, where their head of states are kings, queens, or presidents. Historically, Grand Duchies were smaller than kingdoms, but larger and more prestigious than regular duchies. While they used to be quite common throughout Europe, and there have been some pretty significant Grand Duchies in history, such as the Grand Duchy of Tuscany in Renaissance Italy, today, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg stands as a sole relic to the past. The current Grand Duke Henri has been in the role since the year 2000. The Grand Duke's role is the same as other monarchs from other constitutional monarchies, with the role being mainly ceremonial, although they still represent Luxembourg on the world stage, officially appoint the government, and enact bills into law. This last part was actually put to the test in 2008 when the Grand Duke refused to sign a law allowing euthanasia into Luxembourg. A sort of compromise was met when the constitution was amended to remove the Grand Duke's power to refuse a law. All this goes to show that real power rests with Luxembourg's democratic institutions. On the legislative side, unlike most of Europe, Luxembourg doesn't have a bicameral legislator. Instead, it has a unicameral or one-chamber legislator, consisting of the Chamber of Deputies. The Chamber of Deputies is made up of 60 national representatives who are elected every 5 years. These members of parliament represent 4 constituencies, north, south, centre, and east, and the representation is proportional to the population of these constituencies. The Chamber of Deputies' role is to pass laws, approve budgets, and scrutinise the executive government through committees. Like all other parliamentary systems we've covered, the executive government and the head of government come from within the legislative body, which in this case is the Chamber of Deputies. Whichever party or coalition can form a majority in the Chamber of Deputies after an election forms the government. Also, as Luxembourg follows a proportional representation voting system for its elections, there are very rarely outright majorities in the parliament, if ever, meaning compromises and coalitions have to be formed between political parties to create a government. The Prime Minister of Luxembourg is appointed by the King, typically the leader of the largest political party in a coalition government. The Luxembourg Cabinet is called the Council of Government, and it is the main body of the executive branch and consists of the Prime Minister and the federal ministers who are responsible for various government departments or ministries that run the country. As of September 2023, the current coalition government is led by Xavier Bettel of the Democratic Party, a centrist and liberal political party. Also involved in the coalition are the centre-left Luxembourg Socialist Workers' Party, which advocates for social justice, workers' rights, and progressive social policies, and the Greens, a progressive and environmentalist party that have gained popularity in recent years. And you also can't forget about the Christian Socialist People's Party, or CSV Party, which is a centre-right political party that has traditionally been the dominant party in the country. It supports social conservatism, fiscal responsibility, and pro-European policies. You can also throw in the Alternative Democratic Reform Party, or ADR, which is a right-wing nationalist party, and the Left, which is another left-wing progressive party. There's even a pirate party of Luxembourg that has a presence in the parliament, but it champions issues related to digital rights, internet freedom, and government transparency. And finally, on the judicial side, Luxembourg is a civil law country responsible for upholding the rule of law, interpreting laws, and settling disputes. The court system is a 2-branch system, and we don't have to delve too deep into this, but you have one branch, which is the civil and criminal jurisdiction, which obviously handles civil and criminal cases. There's the other branch, the administrative jurisdiction, which handles cases related to disputes between citizens and the states. There's also the constitutional court and various other specialized courts which deal with specific issues. What is important to remember is the court system in Luxembourg is widely considered free and fair and separate from the other institutions of government. On the economic front, despite its small size and population and being landlocked, and possessing few natural resources, Luxembourg has a highly developed economy, largely dependent on banking, steel, and industrial sectors. Luxembourg's economy is notably diversified. It is a prominent hub for the automotive industry, hosting a significant presence of several notable companies, but the most defining sector of Luxembourg's economy is its financial services sector. Luxembourg is the largest private banking center in the Eurozone and Europe's leading center for reinsurance companies. It also serves as a significant hub for mutual funds and captive reinsurance. A low corporate tax rate has also made Luxembourg a famous tax haven. Despite its population of around 630,000 people, it attracts as much foreign investment as the United States. And here's an interesting demographic number. Of that 630,000 population, 47% of that are foreign residents, and they're overwhelmingly foreign residents looking to take advantage of the economic conditions of the country. With a 2023 GDP of 94 billion US dollars, it's definitely limited on the global scale by its small population, but with a GDP per capita of 140
$42,000, the second highest in the world, it is home to Europe's wealthiest people, with its citizens enjoying some of the best living conditions on the planet. And there you have it, a deep dive into Luxembourg, a small nation that plays a significant role. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you have anything to add or want to call me out on something, comment below. And if you'd like to learn more about how other countries work, subscribe to my channel for more informative videos in the future. Thanks again. We will catch you next time.